You probably clicked on this video to see if Grand Seiko, the legendary Japanese brand, is better than Rolex, the also famous Swiss watchmaking company. Now, these are two different watches, two completely different mechanisms made for different purposes, different materials, and you'll find out which is better in my opinion and which is the best suitable watch for you. If you're watching this, stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell icon as well to get more updates whenever I release a brand new video. So let's start with the Grand Seiko Snowflake. I got this watch around August or September 2020, somewhere around that time. And this watch, as you may know, has the spring drive movements, super accurate. As you notice, the blue seconds hand sweeps very smooth compared to any other watch that I've seen, and Grand Seiko have done a marvelous job. I also made a full review for this watch on my channel, which is titled as the unboxing of the Grand Seiko Snowflake. Now, this watch is fully made in titanium, super light on the wrist. You will not feel it bugging you whatsoever as compared to the Rolex. This can be worn on a daily and it will not bother your hands. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I like my watches to be sort of light on the wrists. I started off buying huge watches, 41 millimeters, 42, sometimes 44. But as I got more into watches, I'm starting to like these smaller watches. Yesterday I was out looking at one of the boutiques for Oris, and I saw a 39 millimeter Oris, and it was, completely stunning. I believe I am done with the phase of buying overly sized watches, even though I'm stuck. It's actually stuck on my hands. Okay, so the watch literally is stuck to my glove. Okay, so the watch is stuck to my glove. I don't know how to get this out. Nice. The Snowflake to me is an absolute beauty, and even under direct sunlight, you'll actually see the snowflake dial and its textures up in detail. And another thing about Grand Seiko is that you should know that it's not a, how do I put this into terms? It's not a showy kind of watch, and not a lot of people will know it as compared to Rolex. Everyone knows Rolex, even those who don't know anything about watches. But Grand Seiko is one of those brands, that is not a scream at me kind of watch, like look, it doesn't make a statement. If you're a watch nerd and you're interested in the movement, you're gonna probably be super fascinated by this. But just a heads up that you're not gonna get recognition. If that's what you're looking for, hey, I'm not gonna judge you, but it is what it is. The watch is absolutely beautiful, super lightweight, so this wins simply because it's in titanium. Now, if we go to the Rolex, the Explorer II 216570, I believe is the reference. Correct me if I'm wrong. Full stainless steel, super heavy, super bulky. I actually wore this yesterday to a dinner outing, and I could not wait until I could take it off. I'm probably being ungrateful, but I love this watch. Don't get me wrong, any other way is just extremely heavy. When you're used to wearing titanium, such as the Grand Seiko Snowflake or the Oris Pro Pilot X, wearing stainless steel sometimes can be a little bit bugging. But nevertheless, Rolex makes a statement. The crown alone just has a completely, different history, different story. Everyone loves Rolex, and especially in my country, Kuwait, Grand Seiko isn't that big here, And if you're worrying about something like reselling the watch, and if a watch holds its value, by all means, Grand Seiko isn't your best of interest. Might as well go ahead and get a steel or a sports Rolex, and you'll be better off. And of course, this is temporary. We do not know the future of Rolex sport models, holding their value forever, or them being the only exception of not depreciating in the market. But then again, life is not all about sales. But if that's your thing, if you are in the watch business, or if you buy watches and sell them or flip them or whatever, I would suggest to get the Rolex over the Grand Seiko. However, they're both beautiful watches, but in my personal opinion, I would choose the Grand Seiko Snowflake simply because it's lighter. It's absolutely, beautiful. The only flaw of this watch is that it has no lume. I wish it had lume. And even though it has the Zaratsu polishing, now again, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm mispronouncing anything, it is absolutely stunning. Placing the Grand Seiko Snowflake on the scale, you'll notice that it only weighs 97-98 grams, give or take. If we place the Explorer II on the scale, you'll see that it's at a whopping 155 grams, and you'll notice the difference with your hands. Believe me when I tell you this, guys, this is a lightweight beauty. Last thing I wanted to mention between these two is that Grand Seiko, especially those that have the spring drive movement, are way more accurate than the typical mechanical watches made by Rolex. And then again, Rolex are not known for their movements. They make decent movements, but this, the Grand Seiko Snowflake, sometimes I like to joke around and say that it is the king of accuracy. It is an extremely, extremely accurate watch. And I just want you to hear what happens when you try to wind the watch and how satisfying and weird it sounds. Now, let's talk about wear and tear. The Rolex Explorer II has taken quite a beating. I don't know if it shows, but you can sort of see the scratches. Let's show the other side. And bear in mind, I do not wear this watch on a daily basis. Obviously, the brushing and the polishing and the bracelet is perfect. I don't really beat this watch and push it to its limits and go diving or whatnot. I'm just not that kind of person. I'd rather wear other watches for those purposes, but as you can see, there are quite some scratches, but it doesn't show, you have to really, really look at it to show. But the scratches on the Grand Seiko seem to be popping out more. Now, I don't know if it's because the dial is white, but I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with the dial and just sort of how thin the watch is, considering the fact that it is actually thinner than the Rolex Explorer II. Well, sort of look the same, but without getting into technical terms, obviously those reviews have been done, and there are tons of videos out there that you can see the technical specifications of these watches. But the Grand Seiko has that cheap feel on the bracelet, and it's not cheap. These watches are not cheap. They're obviously well above $1,000, making them anything but cheap, depending on how rich you are, obviously. But then again, this has that cheap feel, rattliness to it, as compared to the Explorer II. It has that solid feel. When you wear it, you'll know that you're wearing a Rolex. And this watch it's beefy, it's bulky, it does not mess around. But then again, this is the lightweight masterpiece, but it just has that missing point. I personally like the fact that the bracelet is made out of titanium. A lot of people will dislike it and say it has that rattly feel, but I just believe more attention could have been put into the bracelet. But then again, life isn't all about picking and choosing. You sort of get what you have and you get what you pay for. But believe me when I say this, both these watches are good. I'm trying my hardest not to be biased, and I'm trying to give you my most honest opinion on this. I like both of these watches. This has the good and bad in it, and this has the good and bad. So it's really hard. Maybe this is an unfair comparison between the Snowflake and the Explorer 2. Maybe I could have compared it to a Submariner or a Datejust, but it's just I felt like, I haven't really seen a Snowflake being compared to an Explorer 2. But nevertheless, there are a lot of videos out there on YouTube, describing the differences between Grand Seiko and Rolex, two completely different watch companies. However, they make really, really great watches out there. And that is all for today, guys. Stay tuned for more videos. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell icon. I will be trying my hardest to upload a new video every single week, heck, even twice a week or 3 times a week. And that is all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.